How to brew a pour-over coffee using the artistic method. From my perspectives, there's two different ways to brew a pour-over coffee. There's the scientific method, which is more calculated, and then there's the artistic method, the way that I do it. Pour-over is one of my favorite ways to brew coffee. It's how you can pour the most flavor out of any bean. Some experts would disagree with me in favor of extreme precision when using a brew-over technique. However, allow me to explain my reasoning why I like to use a more artistic approach. And that's because everyone has a unique palate. It's about what you like and what you like to taste in your brew. Now, there's still a few fundamentals that you should follow, but ultimately, the way that I brew it gives you a lot more freedom. The core concept is experimentation with some guidelines. You find what you like and then you replicate it. Now, there's a couple of fundamentals that you need to follow. The first is the grind consistency. If you don't have a consistent grind, you're not going to be able to replicate what you make. Number two is the quality of the coffee. If you're not using a good quality bean, you're not going to get good flavor out of it. It's just that simple. Other than these two fundamentals, the artistic method for the pour-over is about experimenting until you find what you like and then you replicate it. Now, pour-over, it looks like this. Very simple, very cheap equipment. All you need to get started is this, a kettle, and the coffee. I recommend using a mesh filter instead of paper so you don't have any of the absorption effect from a traditional paper filter. I really like to extract all of the flavor from the bean possible, and this is the way to do it. So what you're gonna wanna do to get started is to boil about 8 to 12 ounces of water in a kettle. Then you're gonna pour between 1 and 2 ounces of coffee into the mesh filter. It's up to you about how much coffee you wanna pour into the filter. Experiment with this a little bit, but ultimately I would recommend between 1 to 2 ounces. 1 ounce is gonna be a little bit lighter. 2 ounces is going to be really dark, so be careful. Experiment with this until you find the perfect profile that works for you. Now, the next thing you want to do is pour about 4 ounces of your boiled water into the grinds. You want to use a circular pouring motion that fully soaks all the grinds. Once the water has pooled up, let it sit for about 30 to 45 seconds so the gases can bubble up and the water fully passes through. Now pour the second half of your water through the rest of the coffee grinds, fully soaking the beans a second time. Keep a consistent pour until you've used the remainder of your water. The key steps in this process is that you fully soak the grinds and allow the first pour to fully run through before finishing the brew. Don't pour all of the water all at once. This will push the gases into your cup and run through the beans too quickly. You'll lose flavor from a quick pour, and you'll make it bitter by pushing the gases through the cup. Experiment with the timing, the temperature of your water, the volume of your ground coffee and water, but always keep in mind the two fundamentals and write down what you're doing so that when you find yourself the perfect brew, you can replicate the process and do it again. So that's the artistic method. I call it the artistic method because there's not really any scientific method to doing this. It's about what you like and what you like to taste in your coffee. So try a few different ways. I gave you the fundamentals, now the rest is up to you. Damn, that's good coffee.